Hello fabric friends, I'm Linda Nitson with Sizzix here today to show you how to make the baby booties. Baby booties are size 3 to 6 months and they are fantastic with lots of embellishments on the die to choose from. I'm going to show you a few examples here. The easiest one is of course just the two colors. So we need a lining color and then the outer portion, and then you can have the embellishments. So if you go with a toe piece and then you can put extra stitching on it, makes it look like a baseball. If you run the stitching crossways, it can look like a football. We've got a bear. We have a flower, just a plain embellishment on the toe and the heel. You can add extra embellishments like the little balls on the side. Really, the sky's the limit. Use your creativity. You can have a different shoe for every day of the week until the kid grows out of them. They're easy to do. Let me show you how. So, first off, you need to decide how your shoe is going to look. So if I'm going to put a toe or a heel embellishment, it's one of the first things that I need to look at. I also need to decide what I'm going to use for my lining and what I'm going to use for my outer shoe. So in this case, I have pink in the toe and then the pink on the lining as well. And then I use the same on the sole. Other soles you can use would be like this one is the paper leather. You can use suede, you can use wool, you can use cuttle. These little faux suede on the outside with the furry cuttle material on the inside. Who wouldn't want a pair of those, right? So super cozy, super comfy, but decide kind of what your shoe is going to look like first. All right. The top of the shoe is comprised, so we're going to cut the top of the shoe and then the sole, and I'm going to show you how to make one, and then I'll show you some tips on the only difference to make the mate. But I'm not going to show you how to do both shoes today, just the one. It's self-explanatory. So we need to put 2 layers of fabric together, right sides together as though you would sew them. And then we need a piece of thin batting, okay? And I like to use this with my leftover batting because who doesn't have a stack of leftover batting? So now the cost of the shoes went way down. All right, cutting pad at the top, cutting pad at the bottom. We're gonna run this little shoe through our Big Shot Plus machine. You can run it through the Big Shot Plus or the Big Shot Pro, either one, but it will not fit through the regular Big Shot. We need the 9-inch machine or larger. Now, you're going to get your sole and your toe all at one pass. And you also get a freebie, which we're not going to use right now. So you'll notice that I have darts at the top, the toe, and the heel of the shoe. Those darts are going to play a big part when you're constructing the shoe. So we'll lay that up aside. This is the piece that I was saying that we don't really need. This is an embellishment piece for the heel. And I would prefer it to have some sort of fusible on the back side, either Heat and Bond Light or Misty Fuse. So we're just going to discard that. So here's where I decide which one I'm going to use for my lining and which one I'm going to use for the outer portion of the shoe. Since I have some pink already made up with fusible on the back side, I think I'm going to use the yellow because I like the contrast better for the heel and the toe embellishment. So we'll use that one for the outside. All right, so now I need to cut out 2, and since I can cut them both at the same time, we'll go ahead and cut 2 heel and toe embellishments. Just line it up, make sure that your embellishment comes all the way across on your fabric. And if you want to use the smaller cutting pads, you go right ahead, because we're just using a portion of the die. We're not using the entire die at this point. There's the flower embellishment for the toe. I'll show you how that goes on. And then we need to cut 2 of the heel embellishment. That was the one that came as a freebie when we cut the upper and the lining of the shoe. So we'll just put that in the center of the cutting pads. And I did put them right sides together. They're exactly the same, but this way you make sure that you get your mirror images for your mirror image shoes. You want to make sure you don't make 2 right-footed or 2 left-footed shoes. So our heel, we're going to peel off the embellishment here. Now I have the darts. Remember I told you that the darts are on the toe and the heel portion of the sole. They're also on the upper as well. So we've got a dart over here. That's our heel, so we're going to line that up there. And then we have a dart on the top, and that's going to be our toe. So we're going to line that up there. And we're going to take it to the iron, give it a quick press. Now that we have the heel and toe pressed into place, we can go ahead and stitch around that embellishment. Be sure when you're putting your embellishments on that you use something that you can sew through, because at some point you need to sew through the outside here. Don't use that Ultra on this one. Use something that you can sew through. All right, so I'm just going to stitch around the outside there. Nice and quick, nice and easy. Use your favorite stitches if you'd like. Be creative. I'm just going to do a quick little running stitch around the outside. All right. Now we need to get the pieces together. So we ultimately want the lining on the bottom, and we want the batting in between. So just like you were going to sew a quilt together and then flip it inside out, that's the same thing we're going to do. So if we pretend to sew this and then we roll it inside out, we're going to have our lining and our upper correctly. All right, so the next thing you're going to do is go ahead and put a walking foot on your machine, because again, you're sewing through the 3 layers. You can leave the walking foot on from now on. So you're going to leave your sole just the way it is for now. Okay, so we're going to sew from this point around to that point. And I'm going to roll this shoe inside out to show you exactly what we're doing at this point, because I'm a visual learner and I think everyone needs to see this. So it's this upper portion that we're going to sew and then down. So it's up, around, and down. Okay, so up here, around, and down. Leave that long swooping J curve alone for now. And I have my fabric right sides together and my batting at the bottom. All right. If you feel comfortable pinning it into place, you go right ahead. But with that batting in there, I'm pretty comfortable. It's not really going anywhere. 1/4 inch seam allowance. So once we have that done, then you want to clip your corners here, not too close to that point, and you're going to clip this one here too so that it's easier to roll around. And then you're going to make notches on here so that we can get this to roll inside out. Okay, so notch it just like that around that curve. The straight edge, you should be okay. All right, so now we're going to flip it with the right side out. Once you have that completely flipped, you do want to press it at this point. Okay, now that I have that pressed, I'm going to go ahead and top stitch around the outside again, just to make sure that that top seam stays in place. And I want to be right close to the edge. So now that the upper is complete, we need to decide what's going to go inside the foot and what's going to be on the bottom, which fabric of my shoe. So I like contrast, so I would put the pink on the sole against the yellow of the upper. And likewise, on the inside of the shoe where it will be pink, I'd like to see the yellow for the foot part. You can do it whatever way you want. You can put a piece of cuddle at the bottom, you can put paper leather, you can put suede, wool, whatever you're comfortable with, but this is what we're going to do today. So I'm going to place that and line up your darts at the top and the bottom. That's what they're there for. And then what we want to do is we want to start sewing right sides together. So I can audition this by flipping it and see that that's going to be on the sole. And then this would be on the inner. Okay? So I'm going to pin at the dart all of the layers. Now this is going to be a little bit tricky, but you can do it. And then as you walk your hands around, line that dart up perfectly. Don't let it get away from you. You're going to line up the upper darts as well. A lot of layers here. Don't be afraid of it. As long as you pin it into place, it'll stay, right? Now, simply walk your hands and the upper around the perimeter of the shoe and pin them in place. Such a cozy pair of shoes. We should all have a pair in our size. Okay, when doing the closure portion, you want the upper part facing the rear of the shoe, right? So as I come around here, around the outer portion, I'm going to flip this one right side out or inside out again so that you can see what I'm trying to do. So I want the back side of the shoe to come around towards the top, okay? And the top of the shoe is going to be underneath, which seems exactly opposite of what you think you should be doing, but it's exactly what you should be doing. Remember, it's going to get flipped inside out. So we want the back portion of the shoe overlapping the front portion of the shoe. And when you're making the opposite shoe, so that you'll know that you'll start with your opening on the other side. So see, here's a matched pair. If I put my closure on both sides, I'm going to end up with both of the same size side feet. I don't want two right feet, two left feet. I need to make sure that my closures are on the opposite sides. So be mindful of that when you're putting the shoe together. All right? Okay. I am very comfortable with that. How about you? All right, let's see the bottom side. So we have our darts that are matching at the heel and at the toe. Okay, and then we've just worked our way around the shoe. And we're going to sew it from the top side. And you're going to sew 1/4 inch. Nice and slow, no big hurry. Let's go to the machine now. So I start towards the top where there's a little more room. Don't want to sew into any pins, so let's pull those out. Okay. As you get close to the heel, just slide your pins out a little bit and get that around the corner. Gets pretty thick here going across that double layer. And back to where you met. You hear where you started. Give it a little back stitch, keep it in place. So you want to make sure that all of your portion of your shoe, we can see the top portion, but don't forget to flip it over and look at the back side. If you missed a stitch somewhere where the fabric didn't catch, now's your chance to go ahead and fix that. And then let's flip it right side out here real fast too. Make sure that everything caught from the outer portion as well. Oh, that's adorable. Looks like everything's good on the outside. Now let's give those seams a nice tight clip around the outside. Nice and close all the way around. Having a big bulk on the inside is only going to irritate the baby's foot. So we're just going to alleviate some of that bulk. All right, here's where we turn it right side out. And then the only thing you need now is a little closure on the inside. So I haven't put any on this pair yet, but we just need hook and loop tape. You can put a buttonhole here and a piece of thread on this side, like a ribbon, and run it through the buttonhole here and tie it off if you want to. I do not encourage putting a button on it because it is for a baby under 6 months old. So be sure and use something that's going to be safe. If you want to put a snap on, be sure that the snaps are fully safe as well. Again, I encourage the hook and loop tape, but you can put whatever you'd like to embellish the outside to keep it closed. There's tons of different style shoes that you can make, different embellishments for the toe and the heel. Don't forget to use your favorite fabrics and play around with different fabrics for the inside and the outsides. really a separate shoe for every day of the week. Make a pair for yourself. Don't forget to give them as baby gifts, and have a great time making shoes.